Coach, first off, as always, congratulations on the regional win. You guys had a tough task ahead of you there against Brownstown Central last weekend, and something happened in that game that had not happened to you all season long. You were held scoreless in the first quarter. Tell us a little bit about how the game went for you. I know they threw something at you that you had not seen on film, a 3-man front as opposed to a 4-man front. Tell us how you guys adjusted to what you saw on the field.
Well, I think, it was a couple of things. They did come out in a little bit of a different look than what we expected. Not anything we hadn't seen before, but when you have 16, 17-year-old kids and you've game planned and practiced for certain looks all week, and it changes up. I think it took us a little bit to adjust, and we just missed a few plays on both sides of the ball. They were able to put together a couple of drives to flip the field and kind of control the clock there. So the possessions were limited early, but I thought our kids did a really good job of just staying the course, and continuing to do what we do, and eventually we kind of got things rolling in the right direction.
When you have something like that happen, which I assume is pretty rare, when you go out on the field and they receive the kickoff and they get out, or rather you receive the kickoff and then their defense lines up like that, is there kind of what goes through your head initially, and then are you trying to relay information to the guys on the field, just play the game, go with what we planned, when you see something completely different than what you were expecting?
Well, I'll tell you, the first thing is it's really frustrating because you put in a lot of hours, game planning, specifically for what they've done and stuff. So, it really becomes kind of scramble mode, with the coaching staff, because you haven't seen what they're doing. So, I thought our coaches did a great job of scrambling, getting our kids settled down, making sure all of our pass protection rules, we're good across the board. And once we just kind of made a few minor tweaks, we were able to take off really well.
We're talking with Gibson Southern head football coach Nick Hart on the Menard Studio Hotline. It's Ford and O'Brien on ESPN Evansville 105.3, online, ESPN.evansville.com. Third regional in your 4 years there, Coach, which is impressive in itself. But the last three, this is where it ended. So even more work goes into this week. A lot of people talk about your offense, but this defense is, we brought it up last week as well. They carry their own weight. There's no doubt about that. The defensive starters pitched another shutout against Brownstown Central. They got a late score against the backups. What makes this D so good?
We play great team defense, I think. 11 guys doing their job on every single play. I think we're extremely athletic, and just understand, when you have a lot of guys that have started a lot of football games, they just understand where they need to be, and how the defense operates. And, I think a more telling stat, something I saw is in the stat we keep, but something I saw in an article was, at the end of the third quarter, Brownstown only had 51 yards of offense, and, that's when we had pulled our guys. So, not only the shutout, but just a completely dominating performance by our defense.
Well, you come off of that first quarter with no scoring at all, and in about a 7-minute span, Nick Sellers throws for 3, runs for 1, and it's game, basically. This, I know as a coach, your head is in the game, and there's always that chance that, the game's never over till it's over, I guess, to quote Yogi Berra. But is there a time when this offense gets clicking where you as a coach just kind of think, obviously it's never going to be put out there, but you're just thinking, ain't nobody going to stop us tonight?
Yeah, I think there is. I think, it might not be an exact moment, but you can kind of, feel when your kids, get in a rhythm, whether it be running the football, throwing the football, whatever it is. I think, there are times where you can kind of feel that rhythm and feel that you're clicking really, really well, and know that it's going to be a good night for you.
Well, you're moving up to Indianapolis this weekend, Saturday afternoon, to play Bishop-Chatard, who's come back down to 3A now after a couple of years in 4A. Chatard, a lot of success in that program. That's the only way to put it. The Trojans know how to win up there. you'll be, you know, the small town kids coming to the big city type of thing. And you've been there, done that. These kids have too, though, for that matter. You know, this is your, again, third semi-state in 4 years. So you're senior laden. These guys have been there before. But with your coaching up at Warren Central with your dad and being around Indianapolis football and knowing, you know, Cathedral, Chatard, Warren Central, Ben Davis, all the names that come out of that Indy area, do you tell your kids anything different this week about, look, we're gonna come off the bus, it's a big atmosphere, yada yada, or is it just they've been there and they know?
You know, I think they've been there and they know, and you know, our kids are really excited, you know, about the opportunity to go up there and play, and you know, they know what's at stake, and a lot of these kids were sophomores and started as sophomores in the last semi-state game, so. You know, they know what it's all about, and you know, they know, you know, how great of a program Chatard is. So, you know, really our focus this week has been on the schematics and what we're going to do offensively and defensively, you know, in this matchup on Saturday.
Talking to Gibson Southern head coach Nick Hart, getting ready for a semi-state matchup this weekend against Indianapolis Chatard. It's Fort and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3 and online, ESPN-evansville.com. And, Coach, you mentioned the athleticism of your team, and we were talking to Castle coach Doug Hurt earlier and talking about the difference in the game today compared to when Coach Hurt was playing it. You've obviously been around the game for a long time as a coach, obviously, also as a player. From your perspective, talk a little bit about how much the game has changed from your days as a player to what it's like now as a coach, because it's not just football season is from July to November. It's almost a year-round thing at this point in time, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, and I think that's where the game's changed. I think kids are you know, physically at a higher level now than what they were, you know, several years ago, and I think because of all the work that we're allowed to do in the summers, you know, I think passing games are more sophisticated, and you know, I think really as the spread offense has evolved here, you know, it's really only, you know, been around for a short period of time where people are running their entire offense out of it with the gun running game and all that stuff. I think, you know, as the college and pro guys that have come up with more ideas and they've trickled their way down to us, I just think, you know, both offensively and defensively, people have become, you know, more sophisticated in that aspect.
As you mentioned, you guys are making the trip up to Indianapolis, as Jimmy said, to Chatard, a tough team. They're 9-3 on the season. Looking over some of the results of their season so far, their losses came to Indianapolis Cathedral, Cincinnati Winton Woods. So they're close games on top of it. What have you seen on film offensively, defensively from that team and the game plan against that to come out of there with a semi-state win and play at Lucas Oil Stadium on Thanksgiving weekend?
Well, you know, I don't think they've changed, you know, for 15 or 20 years. They line up in the I formation on offense, and they're coming right at you, and they want to control the clock and shorten the game. And, you know, their whole program philosophy is to win games, you know, on the ground and then with their defense. And they have a really good defense if you look at their scores. They haven't given up a ton of points this year. So, you know, it's going to be a challenge for us. You know, I think up front is where, you know, we're either going to win or lose the game on Saturday on both sides of the ball. If we can, you know, stymie that run game up front, you know, we're going to have a really good chance. And also offensively, you know, if we can give Nick Sellers time and get our running game going with our offensive line, you know, that's obviously going to help us out as well.
That's Gibson Southern Titans head coach Nick Hart, regional champs getting ready to go up to Indianapolis to take on Bishop-Chatard, the Trojans of Bishop-Chatard, for the semi-state this Saturday. Coach, best of luck to you. Hopefully you guys get the win there. We can talk again next week and talk about your game plan for a state run. Obviously, it's one game at a time, and you're doing it one game at a time. We get the ability to look ahead just a little bit more. But again, certainly wish you the best of luck. It's been a tremendous season. Fun to watch you guys go along here this season, and we certainly hope we can talk to you again next week.
All right, thanks, guys.